And this is why. Okay. You can hear me, Angel?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I did something right. I might have did something wrong too. I don't know. But here we are. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Okay. I'm trying to figure out which screen do I want to watch so we can. All right. And they're like swimwear. Hey, everybody. What's up? Okay, we made it. Y'all know how I get when I have to produce my show live. So I ain't done a live show in a minute, but I had to get in this conversation with Complex Angel. So I'm super excited because the year is winding down. 2021 is winding down. And I am just like, oh, am I going to like do shows up into New Year? Am I going to take a break? Like, what am I going to do? I don't know, but I know that I'm here tonight, and I was so excited that Complex Angel still decided to interview with me because we missed our recording yesterday. So I'm hyped. I haven't done a live show in a while. So if you're jumping in the comments, like make sure you do that because I'm here with y'all. I usually watch with y'all, but now I can like see what's going on because I'm on the screen. I'm actually talking to y'all right now. And yeah, so pop those questions in there. Any questions that you have for Complex Angel, any questions you have for me, anything you want to say about the end of 2021 and the direction that you wish and hope for 2022, I am open to that too. I'm your favorite host, Queen Phierce. I don't think that I said that yet. Y'all know how I get when I get on. I just start all at the mouth, just at the mouth. Just starting. But I'm your favorite queen, Queen Phierce, and you are blessed to be watching Queen Phierce Has Spoken. Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And for today, I have a special guest with me. Well, all of my guests are special, but I'm especially grateful that Complex Angel, author Complex Angel, is able to share and be with us today. Complex Angel, how you doing? How you feeling?
Thank you, Queen. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me in your safe space. I'm doing good, blessed, and I'm so glad we got to do this interview.
I know, and we're like right on time. We're moving right along, and it's all good in the hood. I'm excited to have this conversation. And so I usually give a little background about like how I know people or why are we even doing this today. So I met Complex Angel at a pop-up shop that we were doing in West Philly. It was slow on a Sunday, but we were both in there. I was in there with Affirmations, and she was in there with her books. And sometimes when you have a slow day, like I was in there creating, I was networking, and one of the people that I got to network with is this beautiful woman sitting before you today, the Complex Angel. And I was like, oh, what do you do? Like, what's this? And she was like, these are the books that I wrote. And I was like, author alert. So here she is. And just like any written story, there is a story to be told. There's a story to be shared. And so Complex Angel is here to share a bit of her story with us today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And this is going to be one of those conversations, just like last week, where I'm getting to know the person on the air. Like, we don't know each other from a can of paint, y'all. I did get to meet her last week. Well, no, it was a couple weeks ago
Yeah.
now, like 2 or 3 weeks. And so haven't literally have not even spoken since then. But I think that makes for an enjoyable and unprompted and just fluid conversation. So thanks for coming to the platform and let's dive into it.
Okay.
All right, she ready, or she been ready. I be telling people that she got well, y'all know I get nervous when I go live. That's why I've been pre-recording. So we had to do it live today for time's sake. And here I go, fiddling and fumbling at 8 o'clock. Complex Angel been on since 7:45. I was still putting on my eyeliner. So she is ready. She was ready for y'all today. I'm ready for y'all too. And so if you're new to this channel or if you're watching it on the playback, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, let me know that you were here and drop those comments because we want to see your questiones. Okay. And so as far as the first question, I guess I will go with why Complex Angel.
Okay, yes. So I want to say back in 2013, I had originally published a book called Honey Flavored Tears. And my mom had picked out my pen name. It was Love and Joy. And I was like, okay, I guess, because N stands for Natasha. But when I was interviewing with people, they thought that that was a book. And I'm like, this name does not really speak to me. And I was actually in the book, Honey Flavored Tears. She used to go to a poetry spot and her pen name was Complex Angel. And I was like, I like that more. So I changed it to it because I'm very like complicated. My mind thinks like I can be all over the place. Like I could answer one question, then tie it back in with something. It's just crazy. And I'm also an angel, because they say Leos are not, we're the most hated zodiac sign, but I consider myself an angel. So it just, picked up and like moving here to Philly, it really took a name for itself. Like some people call me Angel and I'd be like, who's Angel? I'm like, oh, that's your pen name. And yeah, it just, that's history from there.
Well, I would definitely say sometimes I just want to jump in with the angel. And I was like, no, I feel like she identifies as complex angel for a reason. So you mentioned being here in Philadelphia. Where are you coming from?
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. I moved here July of 2017 for multiple reasons. One was to turn, I have a degree in social work. And in Detroit, it was really hard to find a job. I had graduated 2014 and I was making do working at Quicken Loans, but I'm like, I really don't feel like I'm content because I'm not in my career and I'm not putting this degree to use. So it was either here or Atlanta, but Philly was calling like they was like calling like clockwork. So I moved here, but I moved here faster than I expected. But I know we'll get into that later. And yeah, like just getting tired, like wanting a new scene, running from depression and everything. So been here 4 years and I'm still shocked that I'm still here.
Well, welcome. Have
Thank
you
you.
found it to be? I know that Philly gets a bad rep. Have you found it to be the city of sisterly affection?
Honestly, people ask me when I first moved here, what the hell made you move here? But I feel like it's what you make of it. I went on a crazy journey. Philly has helped me to face myself. Philly has shown me how strong I am. I love the fact that y'all have so many celebrities that came out of here. People gave me the Philly rundown. I did not know that Jill Scott was from here. Did not know that Music Soul Child. Like so
What?
many people. I'm like, oh, I'm really in a city of talent. Just the open mics because I love poetry. And don't get me wrong, there's stuff like that in Detroit, but this is the heart of poetry. So it's like you see poetry events happening every other day. Um, of course, I went through some turbulence when I first went here, but when I first moved here, but it still helped me to become who I am today. So I love it, surprisingly, right?
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
no, I'm not that surprised because I'm from here, and as much disappointment as I may have in my city sometimes, I still love my city. I still think
right.
it's a beautiful city. I still think it is what you make it. It truly is the city of hustle. Like
Yes.
everybody here has their own thing going on. Like and in art, like even our estheticians and our hairstylists, I feel
Mm,
like Philly is just its own culture, and
yes.
I'm just grateful to be a part of that culture.
Yes.
Everything is art. People make like making jewelry and doing eyelashes and even down to cleaning houses. Like it'd be an art to it. And
Yes.
everybody has that like that
Yes.
hustle and that drive. So that's one thing that I always loved about my little city.
If I could piggyback on what you just said, that's what I really fell in love with, the hustle here. Because in the Midwest, maybe I just wasn't aligned to see it back there, but living in a state with like so much trauma, I had to run. But it's like the mentality that I felt Midwest had was go to school, get your degree, get a 9 to 5 job, because I've always had dreams of being something big, but my family always said, let's come back down to reality. So coming here and seeing people make money off of their passions, these pop-up shops, I'm like, this is a whole different world. So yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
It's the hustle that I love. It's the beauty of it.
That's what's up. And that's inspiring coming from, I guess, an outside perspective because you have such a different experience from where you're from. And I mean, I feel like region does have a lot to do with the way that you see and view the world. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just part of like who you are, your environment, and region would be part of your environment. And it's just everybody grew up so differently, but it doesn't change like the fact that you have a passion or a hustle or a talent or a drive to do what you really love to do. I always say some people have that drive and some people don't.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have the drive, like I can't make you have the drive. Like I can't make you want something
Right.
more for
Mhm.
you than you do, right? And
Right.
I do find that I run into some people like that. But I mean, we out here, people who
Yeah.
like truly have the drive, but I do think there's a high concentration of those people right here in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of the transition, because I heard you mention that you had to run here. So, what was the running? Are we running from or running to?
uh, I've always been a person since I was like 19. I've always ran like when it seemed like things were getting too hard. Um, from 2013 to 2015, I witnessed death 3 times. Grandfather first, my grandmother, then my mother. And the world just really did not seem safe to me no more. I was living in this surreal state. I felt like everybody was living their life and I was just at a stagnant moment. And I remember it was the point where I couldn't even live by myself because I had suicidal thoughts. And something just told me, like my job had pulled me to the side and it was like, you got a lot of PTO, you should, take some time off. So I said, okay. So my cousin invited me down to Atlanta. And when I got, like, as soon as she picked me up from the airport and we got on the freeway, this boost of energy that I hadn't had in a while came out of nowhere. So I was like, the epiphany just, you need to move out of Michigan came to me.
Mm,
Um, and I was telling her, like, I want to move out of state. I was like, I'm gonna move here to Atlanta. My cousin type of person, I'll believe it when I see it. But I was like, no, what I'm saying, I'm gonna move here. I got back in contact with an associate from high school that deterred that decision and made me basically move this way, if that makes sense. Because like I said, it was either here or Atlanta, but Philly was falling back quicker and I think I was also persuaded, you know what I'm saying, and
yeah.
forced. But overall, it was just me running from depression because I just felt like I was running from my problems. I felt like if I was in another state, I wouldn't have to deal with it.
Got you. So it would be like creating a whole new existence or experience,
Yeah.
which is valid. Like people always want to put forth the argument of like, oh, don't run from your problems or your problems will follow you, or I do believe that things need a level of resolve, but you also have to really do what's best for you and your forward movement and your growth. You know what I mean? And so if you find that you're in a space where you can't grow or your growth is stunted, then it's time to like uproot yourself, make sure you don't break your little roots and plant somewhere else. You can
Yes.
definitely, it's just like moving plants around in my house. You know what I mean? You can thrive in a different space when you're receiving more light or more nurturing. So yeah, that's important. So when you came to Philly, so you say you kind of like running from your problems, you're in Detroit, you was gonna go to Philly or Atlanta, and now you're in Philly. So let's go to, because something tells me this is a connector story. What prompted you to write this first book? Is this book a novel? Is it poetry? Is it bio? Like, what is the book?
Um,
Tell us more about that.
so it is okay. So like I said, I published other books, but I took them down after writing this one.
Mhm.
This is my personal story of an abusive relationship that I was in when I first moved here. I wrote it through a fictional character just for confidential reasons
Mhm.
because I came to a decision just because I'm ready to live in my truth. Maybe other people around me are not ready to be exposed. So I changed names. Um, I based it off of a poem that I did called Just Wanted You to Love Me. I had performed it at this open mic in Uptown called AMF House, Uptown Open Mic, and
Mhm.
it had went viral. And that encouraged me to write the book because the abusive relationship occurred from July 17th, I want to say, to the end of 2018. Like it led to me getting a restraining order, but I started writing No Apologies 2019 after getting a restraining order. I felt like it was me being in social work and wanting to do domestic violence. I felt like the reason why people keep going back is because the methods are not really clear, if that makes sense. Like we're not telling people that this is a mental addiction. So I felt like, okay, let me write this from an addictions perspective to teach people why a person, stays. Because the one thing I kept hearing is, oh, you like to be treated like this. So I wrote it from an addictions perspective, just to like really teach people and to also help me learn more about myself
Yeah.
because I knew that I had a generational curse after me. My mother, my sister, and my grandmother all went through abuse. But we never talked about our pain. It was just like it didn't kill me, it made me stronger, sweep it under the rug. So I always had fears like, is this going to happen to me? Am I going to blindly walk into it? And I actually blindly walked into it. So I wanted to write this to show generational curses, show where the ball can get dropped if you don't deal with it, how it can come back in your kids. I wanted to show what sexual soul ties was like because I had so many epiphanies about the abusive relationship once leaving. And I had to get it out on paper because I'm like, if I keep holding on to this, it's an addiction that you just don't want because the more you think about it, it makes you end up going back to them. That's why I said I feel like domestic violence, like, the programs, not trying to throw shade. I just feel like they need to do a different approach because we get together and we talk about the abuse, but it's like it just makes me think about him all over again and makes me want to go back. We have to get to the deeper root. This happened because of stuff we were taught. This happened because you know, generational curses, sexual soul ties, not having self-love. It's a deeper root than just the abuse, that you see firsthand.
So you said that there needs to be a different approach. In your
Mhm.
opinion, like what does that approach look like?
I feel like we need to do like a chart and just ask, like, what was your childhood like? Did you see mommy and daddy show affection growing up? Instead of always talking about the abuse and showing these pictures that puts you back in those feelings. And because I know me looking back at abuse, it made me think about him. It made me feel like, what, he's right. I need to go back. So we should talk about the deeper root, because I was reading articles when I was in the abuse relationship because I was trying to figure out, why am I so addicted? I can always tell a guy, fuck you, have a nice life, but why can't I, actually admit that and stand on it with this guy? And it said, we are addicted to our abusers. This one article I came across, it says we are addicted to our abusers because they need something inside of us. If you are deprived of that nurturing side as a child, you attach yourself to broken people. If we can educate people on this standpoint, because domestic violence was supposed to be my concentration, they never talked about this. Like they never did. It was just always, oh, he hit me. I just feel like it should be a lot more, because like people that I've interviewed on my podcast before, they didn't know a lot of the terms, especially in the Black community. They didn't know what trauma bonding meant. Like we have to really dissect it down and talk about it. I just feel like
Absolutely.
it's different roots. I can't. It's a general question, but I just feel like if there's some things, let's talk about affirmations. Let's write down some of the things that he said, and let's write down, what, like, believe in the opposite. If he called you ugly, start saying that you're beautiful. Like, start building each other up. But yeah.
So there was a lot there, a lot to unpack. But what I'm gathering is you think that these domestic violence programs should be more therapeutic, because I feel like the process that you're talking about um, usually happens like in a therapy setting,
Mhm.
like really exploring those roots of why you think something is happening or things that you observe that could actually answer questions of today. And it sounds like what's happening more so is a rehearsal of the trauma. Um, so how do we change that? What does changing that process look like?
Mm, I would say, like, to have a therapist in the room when talking about it, and instead of, like you said, the rehearsal trauma.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone. I just know, like, for me and talking to like other people, because I used to go to a meetup group where we would talk, and I remember I tried to introduce an activity in there, like, let's write self-affirmations, and one of the girls was like, oh my gosh, can we do this more often, because I feel like this helps more than just talking about it. Like, I get that they want you to drill it in your head of what happened, but if a person doesn't know why, you know what I'm saying? Or like let's bring articles to the to the meetings and talk about it. Let's define what stuff means. Have a therapist in there. I'm just saying, I just feel like it should be, people should know more. I feel like a lot of people are not woke to what's going on. A lot of people don't take domestic violence serious. Like, it took for me to have to write it from an addiction perspective for people to kind of understand. Some people felt like, oh, what I'm saying, she probably over dramatic, over made it over dramatic. But I'm like, no, this legit happened. But it's like a narcissistic person, they have two different sides. So it's his word against mine. Only a person that has been through this before will know what it's like, but we still have to get to the deeper root. But like you said, that is more of a therapeutic approach. I just feel like there needs to be more education on why, what I'm saying, instead of just talking about the abuse, let's get to the deeper root.
Right. And also not just the why, but well, understanding the why will help you to definitely stop repeating that pattern. But um also the moving beyond it, because I imagined an activity like the affirmations is very empowering. So just incorporating empowering practices
Yeah.
in the group could be helpful. I mean, for someone to actually say, like, I feel like this helped me more, is a testament to that. And I can just imagine women affirming themselves and realizing, if I'm this, then why would I allow this? Like, why
Right.
would, if I am beautiful, why would I jeopardize that? If I am strong, why would I put myself in a position that I have to demonstrate that strength? Like, if
Right.
I feel like the affirmations are a direct relation to um, really overcoming the trauma of it. This
Mhm.
really I feel like an excellent idea and practice. So when are you starting your first group?
Oh gosh. I'm not sure. That's a good question. My goal is to get my degree and be a self-love life coach. I am trying to put something together next year, a self-love event, like it could be a networking event, have vendors there who have products and services that apply to self-love. And let's just have a Q&A about self-love. Let's have open mic and just really express ourselves. I just feel like there's not enough safe spaces to talk about this in the Black community. I see a shift though. Thanks to
Yeah,
Red Table Talk, you are starting to see a shift. Um, I would just say that we have to really get rid of that. What happens in this house stays in this house, because a lot of us, like when me and my co-host, we had a podcast called Queens of Vibes and Visions. We just wrapped it up November 29th. But for me to have known her for 16 years, Queen, when I tell you that I just like this was the first time I could really say I knew my friend from this podcast, because there was a lot of stuff we didn't talk about. It was like when you see your
yeah,
girl, you don't want to be negative Nancy. We gonna go out to the car, we gonna go out to the club, we gonna party, we're not gonna even talk about it. We gotta stop doing that.
yeah.
So I'm definitely trying to get some stuff in the making. So
No, absolutely. And it's important to surround yourself with that kind of support system. I was just having this conversation earlier. Trusting yourself to be vulnerable, but also trusting yourself in your vulnerability to know who you can be vulnerable with, or where you can be vulnerable, or how you express your vulnerability. Is such a multi faceted thing. But I feel like other people support is part of that equation, and oftentimes that comes from other people, because we need that when we can't support ourselves. Like, you can't be expected to be strong all the time. You can't be expected to be, a workhorse all the time. Like, as human beings, as Black women,
yeah.
I know that we are viewed as both like the superwoman and the slave, but and that and through trauma, we have kind of taken on that persona,
Yeah.
and which parts of it I very much own. Like, I've been in that whole superwoman, but my superwoman idea was really that idea of being the savior of the world. Like, the Black woman is the savior of the world and does not have time to take a nap, and does not have time for herself. But how do we get past that? How do we overcome that? And I feel like, moving forward, I started identifying more as queen than superwoman, just
Mm.
because the queen to me is the the whole or complete woman. So like,
Yeah.
yes, we work just as hard as the king, but we also know and pay attention to and honor all of these other aspects of ourselves, like our self-care, like our
Yes.
mental health, like all the other pieces of us that need to be taken care of so we can be just as strong as that king. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I know I went on a little journey there.
No,
I
no,
didn't even
I know.
know.
We was here. We was here. Yes.
Yes, I didn't even know it was going to go in that direction, but it and I feel like I've been talking stuff out a lot today for the first time. So that's not a thought that I had ever really expressed, but is very much true. We have to just like shift the way that
Yes.
we think about ourselves or perceive ourselves or our own strength or our personas or whatever, and just really step into however we define our queendom.
Yes, that part.
All right. That's my TED talk. Thanks for coming out. Everyone's like,
Yes.
uh, oh, and I just want to remind folks because we have people on the line. I blinked and now people are watching. So thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm having a all the way live conversation with Complex Angel, the author of No Apologies, and she is telling us her journey in writing these stories and just really finding out and discovering who she is. And I feel like we halfway there on the journey run. Okay. So, and if you want to know more about the story, let's take a break here to talk about how do folks get the books.
Okay. So you can get, I'm gonna just show y'all the cover. This is No Apologies. This is the first one, Complex Angel, and then this is the second one. You can get it on Amazon.com. I have the ebook, $8. Paperback is No Apologies 15. Out of Darkness paperback is 20, but both ebooks are 8. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's a membership where you can read 10 books for free. It's on there. I also have copies on demand. I sign mine and I just do like a shipping fee of $5 and I can ship to you wherever you're at. So you can always find me on complex_angel90 on Instagram. So yeah. If you want that.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that. So No Apologies talks about this journey, and don't think I'm going to let you slide on this domestic violence group either, because
Okay.
um yeah, we got to talk about that. Actually, in this last action, can we say it again? That beautiful art went by too fast. Oh, C Rice wants to see the cover of the
Oh,
of
sure,
the
sure.
book again.
Okay, this is the first one.
I really enjoyed the art too.
This is by Tiana Reese. She's from Philly. And then Out of Darkness. This is by Raven Ewing. She is from Arkansas. Yep. And yeah, I guess I know you'll ask questions about Out of Darkness later. Or do you want me to explain to them what that one's about?
Yeah, so we're gonna
Okay.
go right into Out of Darkness. So because we were kind of talking about this things that, so No Apologies kind of talks about your experience, your
Mhm.
transition to Philly and your experience in a domestic violence situation and how you overcome that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like how
Okay.
I left it. Yes. Mhm.
How we left it. And so Out of Darkness, is that
Yeah.
it? Okay, Out of Darkness. So, what is this story? How is it connected to the first story? Kind of like take us through the journey here.
So, Out of Darkness is the story that we never hear. What it's like after the abusee leaves the abusive relationship. When I first moved here, I said I was thinking about it a lot, and I thought that once I got into my own place, that I wouldn't have to think about it. No, that's when everything gets real. That's when the unpacking of what happened to you starts to happen. That's where the depression kicks in, the regret, the anger. The abusee can become the abuser. And I thought about it. I'm like, we never hear the story of what it's like after the victim leaves. We always hear if they died at the abuser's hands or they just left. So I felt like this story was needed to be told because I found myself, I wasn't physically abusive, but I was mentally abusive, more defensive, more angry, more depressed. So this is that story. And it's a phoenix bird going towards the sun, to get out of darkness. I wanted her to do coming up from the ashes, but she couldn't. But hey,
Mhm.
I still like the fact that it's a phoenix bird because it represents transformation and strength.
All right. So yeah, that's a whole separate journey. Okay,
Mhm,
so I see this as in your first story, it's really like more the physical aspect of like how do I get away and
mhm,
like deal and discover with a new life. And the second journey is like all the personal stuff, all the inside stuff
mhm,
that happens once you got got out, I guess, of the situation.
mhm.
Um, wow. Is there a third part or
People wanted to be a third part, but I wrapped the series up. I'm on to a new project called Bittersweet Reflections. So yeah.
okay. So and so at the end of um Out of Darkness,
Mhm.
what are we looking at? What is the what is the overcoming, like what does the overcoming look like for you? Like where's the glory? How are you thriving?
Okay, so I'm gonna just call myself Nicole. That's my name in the story. That's my middle name. But in the end, you see Nicole take back her power. You see her get the restraining order and finally close the door. She's tired of the what ifs. She's tired of questioning, can she live in Philly without this man because he broke her down to make her believe that she wasn't nothing without him, that she owed her loyalty to him. So you see her take back that power. You see her have a vulnerable moment and have a relapse before she takes back her power. And you see her like it fast forwards to 2 years later. She's a podcaster, Self Loves My Rehab and Queens with Vibes and Visions. She has both books out. Um, she's growing as a person, yeah, like that kind of I'm trying to think because so much has happened. Um, she's doing more poetry now. She's getting more confident with herself. You just see her growing and you see her understanding that abusive relationship, she needed it to help her grow. She's not the same person that she was when she first moved to Philly. So you just see a lot of transformation.
I love that. And so transformation has been kind of a theme for me lately, but more comparable to like a butterfly and butterfly life
Yeah.
cycle. Um, and I just truly believe like it's been that kind of year for me. I call it butterfly season, because we don't we don't really see our process. We feel our process, we go through our process, we hibernate for a little while, but while we take that time to ourselves, like other things are happening. We're growing in ways that we don't even recognize, and then one day you're like, okay, I'm gonna go back outside again. um and you don't even know how much you've grown. You don't even know how beautiful that you are or can be. You don't even know.
Yes.
And but it still shows. It still shows, because we out here flying now. we,
Yes.
we ain't crawling no more.
That part.
We ain't scooting no more. We ain't in the dark no more. We out here flying. So we know something is different. And the way we really recognize it is to either speak to ourselves in the mirror, or when others tell us, when they recognize like, hey, like I had a friend tell me today that she was proud of me. That's a
Yes.
different kind of feeling for people to really recognize your growth. Um, yeah, so I'm proud of your growth, queen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it's right. C. Right said it's the growth for me. Yes, it
Thank
is
you.
it's always the growth for me.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm proud of that. I'm going to continue to lift you up. And we are going to do that domestic violence group in the way that you think it should be done.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, we are going to do that come 2022. We can do it. We'll do it with my organization.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Um, and one thing that I noticed, since we're talking about the subject of domestic violence, I mean, recently here in Philadelphia, it's been no secret that Black women are dying at the hands of their partners. And it just seems way too easy to pick up a firearm and shoot a Black woman these days. But to have that directly linked to domestic violence is disheartening. So the real question is, how do yes, I love you, C. Rice, baby. I'm gonna count you in. I'm gonna count you in. C. Rice wants to be in on the group too. C. Rice is the founder of It's Mine,
Okay.
which is an organization that helps women and children through sexual abuse.
Mm,
So sometimes I know these things can be related and intertwined, and that's why we have to work together to really bring reform to our communities and
yeah.
to our mental health. Um, so yeah, I want to do that group. I definitely got sidetracked from whatever it was I was saying.
You were saying that because Black women are dying
Yeah.
rapidly. Yep.
So the question now is, how do we address that? So like, yes, we would like people to stop killing us. That
Yeah.
would be great. But in the instance that we can't make you stop killing us, how do we protect ourselves? What are these safety plans that we can create? What are the preemptive measures? And so I think you bring up a good point today with talking about um, how domestic violence groups really rehearse the trauma,
Mhm.
and why women oftentimes end up back in those situations, is because we need to start at ground zero. We need
Yeah.
to empower women
Mhm.
from the get, and women who are currently in the situation, they need to know how worthy they are. They need to know that
Yeah.
there are options, and we have to literally work towards what those options are, because
Yeah.
some women would leave if they had somewhere to stay.
Mhm.
Some women would leave if they knew their children would be safe. You know
Yes.
what I mean? So I feel oftentimes the vulnerabilities are played on in other aspects because Black women don't know, or they're not aware of um, assistance or other opportunities or resources. So
Yes.
it's really just time to pull together and save Black women, save
Yes.
all women, save the women in our city. It really is just time. I'm
Yes.
so overwhelmed and saddened by this clear attack on Black women. And I
Yes.
just have to say it like that, like as a Black woman,
Yes.
and just, not knowing, I feel like I identify with these women. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? So I feel as though at any moment it could be
Yeah.
me too. You
That
know,
part. Yeah.
it could be me too. So I'm not I'm not above it. Basically,
Yeah.
you can't count me out. I'm not
Right.
different than any of these women. So what I do to protect myself is hopefully what I can show others to do to protect themselves. What I do to protect myself is what we're going to do to protect each other.
Yeah. I would say from a deeper rooted issue, we have to show that it's okay to show our vulnerability. This goes back to slavery when, you know, they had the whole saying black women don't feel pain. That was their excuse to rape us. We have to show our children, our daughters, it's okay to show vulnerability. And how we do that is show vulnerability in front of them instead of always saying that I'm okay. I never saw my grandma cry. Whenever someone passed, I saw her cry at the funeral, and then after that, she was back to work. We everything is a learned behavior. Everything.
Everything.
We
Yeah.
absorb that. Okay, I never seen mama cry. I never seen grandma cry. What don't kill you make you stronger. We all got our crosses to wear and our dresses. Whatever the saying is, we have to change it. Be more honest. Like you said, you know, we have to stick up for each other. We were always taught that women, like we're each other's competition. You know, we have to, I feel like it's easier to empathize once you understand something. And you know, I'm not telling domestic violence programs out there it's okay to talk about the trauma, but understand that a victim is still trying to learn what happened to them. A lot of gaslighting goes on with an abuser. A lot of times when they come back around and they show that nice face, we push all that trauma to the back. Like prime example, I wanted to believe that I only got hit 3 times by the abuser, but it didn't take until it took me to the second book to realize no, he hit you more than that. You just packed a lot of stuff away. So we have to be honest with ourselves, you know, empower each other because when you know that you have people around you that give you the safe space, it stops you from wanting to trauma bond with that abuser and feel like no one understands me but that person. Because I'm not even going to put it with he, because women abuse women, women abuse men, men
Talk
abuse
about it.
you know, just the abuser. Like that's what I could say from a deeply rooted issue.
Talk about that. That is so real. C. Rice jumped in to say, especially those people who are experiencing abuse that is not physical.
Yep, mental. Yep.
So yeah, we have to address that as well because I that's really where it starts. All
Yes.
abuse is an exertion of power.
Yep.
So like people are just like, if I can make you feel scared of me, and
Yes.
if I don't have to touch you, it's a bonus. You know what I mean?
That
If
part.
I
Yeah.
can make you feel scared of me, that person still has control over you. And that's the
Mhm.
ultimate goal. It's always control. So I don't know what it is about people that feel like that's a need, like this need to always be in control or have control over another person.
Mhm.
And it literally gets out of hand when
Yeah.
that's what people desire, this control. um yeah,
Yeah. It gets deep. It gets deep.
I
But
just feel like I didn't know which way this conversation was gonna go, and we are like really hitting all of the points,
yeah.
all of the points. Um, oh, child. And look at us talking for almost an hour. Oh my gosh. I
I'm having
swear,
a good
even when I'm
time.
sitting here watching the show, I'm like, where did the time go? Like,
I'm
and
having a good time though.
listen, because we have to have more of these conversations for
Yeah.
sure. And I'm so sincere about starting this group, especially because you experienced it, right? So you understand that the people, and it would basically was like you were healing yourself. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like I know what I need um out of this, and I'm not getting what I need out of this, you
Mhm.
know. To jump over to the comments, C. Wright said, my abuser took the mental route because she knew that I would defend myself physically if need be. So abusers are also calculated. And it didn't
Yes.
take until I was alone to realize all the times I was mentally abused. I
Mm.
can agree to that. When you are
Yes.
in the midst of a mentally abusive situation, your mind is not there. You know what
No,
I mean? Your mind
emotionally
is,
numb.
yeah,
Emotionally.
definitely in a
And to,
place where like your mind is with this person. That's how they're able to manipulate and control you. So that's why it's important to try to get removed out of the situation so you can start really recalibrating your
that part.
mind. It
Yes.
really starts up here. Before
Yes.
that person ever put their hands on you, I guarantee they said some fucked
Yes.
up. You know what I mean? Like
Mental
some stuff
addiction.
is
Yes.
just like you don't say that to people, you don't talk to people. And that's why I be nipping stuff in the bud, because I feel like if you can come out your mouth sideways, then I don't know what's next
That
over here.
part.
So I feel like right here is where we got to
Yes.
draw the line. You know what I mean? So
To
like,
piggyback,
but
to
some people
piggyback.
don't nip it here, you know what I mean? And this right here, this going off at the mouth, this being ratchet, this talking to people any kind of way, this degrading women, this part, this
Yes.
is not a generational thing, but something that never went checked, like
Yeah.
from the get, like from your mama
Oh
or
yeah, it's
whoever
still
raised,
generational. It's still
or
generational.
yeah, or out in these streets. This
Yeah.
should have got checked at too. But some
Yes.
of these people allow these men to grow up and talk to them any kind of way and just blame it
Misogyny.
on, oh, that's part of they just a man. That's just the way
Yep.
they talk. No,
Misogyny. Yep.
or anybody, a masked person, a woman, some of these women's mouths are outrageously ratchet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also like because they had to put up with this. So you build a defense with
Yes.
this, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then once you experience abuse here, you just carrying it down. Now you're talking to the kids any kind of way. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And now
Yes.
they talking to people out in the street any kind of way because everybody wants that power that's being sucked from them on the other side. Child, we could talk all night. I didn't
I'm
even
telling you.
know
You
I was
see?
going to
See
start
how you
preaching
got
on
this
this
epiphany?
YouTube like this.
Yes.
But this is a real thing, and
Yes.
that's why this is why our communities are hurting. This is why we're
Yes.
seeing gun violence at the level that we're seeing it. This is why children are suffering. This is why women are scared. This is why, because
Yes.
it's got to get checked from the
Mm-hmm.
get, from 18 months, from 2, whenever you learn to open your mouth, you're going to learn what to say and what not to say. And we're not
Yes.
going to keep carrying this down. I'm not going to exert power over you so you think you have to exert power over the next person.
Yes.
Everything that you do is collaborative. We have to
Yes.
interact and connect with people all day long. We look to certain people for guidance and certain people look to us for guidance. But that
That part.
doesn't mean that one person is more powerful than the other. Okay, I'm going to shut up so that complex angel can talk.
No, no, you're fine. You're fine. Everything that you just said was word. I was just gonna say, piggybacking on what C. said, mental abuse is not taken very seriously. I remember when I was in the process of writing no apologies and I was sending like, different parts to people. Some people was like, oh, do you really have to have that much cussing in there? I feel like a person's not going to get it until you paint a clear picture. A person's going to overlook, he yelled at me and called me out my name, but they're going to realize, you stupid bitch. Some people, like I've had females that said, my baby daddy talked to me like this. And if it wasn't for your book, I'd probably be getting abused right now. You have to really paint that picture for them.
Yeah.
Mental abuse is just as severe as physical because it's still tearing down your self esteem. You get what I'm saying? It still makes you feel like this person, for this man to sit up here and make me feel like I owed him for him letting me stay in his house when I'm providing my car. I'm providing, I'm the one paying the bills and everything. I just basically came to help you. You needed me more than I needed you. But narcissistic people,
Well,
they
flip that
they
right
need
around.
someone to project, they need someone to project their insecurities onto. And that's why I said, like, it's a lot of unpacking. Mental abuse is real, sexual abuse, physical is all real. And it's time for us to stand up, like you said.
Absolutely, it's time. Ooh, child, I feel like my heart is like, feel like
Yeah.
we can do this all that. We have another comment from Karen. She said, yes, they did. My abuser tried his hardest to tear me down and make me feel like I'm nothing. Then he tried to hit me, and that
Mhm.
time was his last time, and we fought, and then I left. Yeah, child, that
Yes.
first of all, I'm happy that Karen is still here.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen, for standing up for yourself, and really embodying your strength, because when it gets to that point, I feel like that first time you have a choice to make, right? And
Mhm.
some people fall for the, oh, I'll never do it again,
Yeah.
or this is the first time that it happened. But if you ever think you have to raise your hand at me, I am guaranteed I'm not. Listen, you can't. I just feel like this is habitual, and unfortunately it's part of our histories. Like, we've seen this way too many times. We've seen this story.
Mhm.
We all heard Love is Blind, and it'll take over your mind. Like,
Mhm.
we know that story, you know what I mean? So why, when we're in it, do we fall for that story? Why do we become that story? And I believe it starts right there. Sometimes you gotta go through that tussle just so you can get through the other side. And
Mhm.
I don't know too many people that's a stranger to a tussle. We all we all been through a tussle or two, but like, get out.
Yes.
It's like the movie Get Out.
Oh, yes. You can
Yes.
walk into it blindly in different ways. My situation, I was away from family. I didn't know no one here but him. So it's different things. Some abusers don't hit you until 4 years later. You know what I'm saying? They may be talking to you reckless, calling you out your name, but they're lavishing you with gifts. They're
Mm,
taking you on, like they're pampering you. You ain't never had that before. The
the
apology, you've never
blooming,
had
yeah.
that before. So by the time they hit you, you like, okay, it confuses you, it sets fear in you. A lot of people ask me, why didn't I leave after I saw him put his hands on his baby mama? Because I was already mentally addicted to him and I didn't know. I had too much pride to go back home because I didn't want to hear I told you so. You just never know a person's situation. We have to
You
be gentle
never
all the way
know.
around. Yep.
You never know. That is so true. Um, Yeah, I feel like we can go on and on and on. And unfortunately, this is a story that's just all too familiar to women. And I feel like, especially Black women, really just, to be honest, women, like,
Mhm.
because of the way women have been viewed in this country, women have always been viewed as less than. Women have always had to fight for their own rights, for anything, for decision making, for the control over our bodies, for certain permissions when it comes, to yourself physically. I mean, even up until, I feel like, this decade, that, there are situations where they would tell you, oh, you need your husband's permission, or have you talked to your
Mhm.
partner? Ain't nobody living in this body but me. You know what I mean? Like, what
Yes.
is that about? So I'm just saying that to say is that women have always been seen as weaker, than men, and in a white patriarchal society, this country has been groomed to think that men, and particularly white men, are the people that are supposed to make all of the decisions for
Mm.
our existence. and that just isn't so. So I definitely feel like these latter years there has been a shift in that process and thinking, because I mean, just like we said, it starts in the mind. Some women think like that, you
Yep.
know, that men are supposed to make the decisions and men are supposed to be in power, and I'm supposed to be in a kitchen barefoot and pregnant. And let me be the first one to tell you that you got the wrong one.
Yes.
Please let me be the first one to announce it from the rooftops. So it's just um there's a lot of mental reconditioning that needs to happen for this move of empowerment to truly um, move forward and just do what it, you know, what it needs to do.
That part.
Yeah. Ooh, child. Woo. I feel like we went through it today.
Yes.
Just like I say, you know, like I never know which way the conversation is going to take us, especially because, you know, we had no prior conversation. We just jumped on, but it's always a pleasure when you can just hop on and really vibe with somebody and really just like exchange thought. I mean, this is a space where it's a safe space, and it's a space for queens being able to collaborate. It's a space for our free expression, and it's a space for us to really connect with
Yeah.
other like-minded queens and for us to say what we need to say. Okay, so I'm glad that we were able to do that today. Before we close out, I just want to ask like what you have coming up, how people can get in touch with you, and anything else that you want to share with our audience tonight.
Sure, sure. So you can find me on Instagram at complex_angel90. I tell people to go there because my link tree is in the bio where you can find the books, you can find the 2 podcasts, and you can find like my TikTok, but I don't really be on there. I'm writing a new series called Bittersweet Reflections. My goal is to get people to live in their truth, no matter if it's ugly or beautiful. And I really feel like my mission is to help people break generational curses because of personal experience I've been through. So, Bittersweet Reflections is a story about a girl, it's about a mother daughter relationship. And the message behind this one is be gentle with your parents. They were learning as they were going. But also, if you're going to bring a child into this world, be mindful of what you have to do before you bring them into this world, because you never know what you can end up making them pay for. So, yeah, this is going to be based off loosely based. I'm not writing no more about my story, but loosely based off of a relationship that I had with my mom. We had a very estranged relationship. So I'm going to be putting more emotions behind this, but it's going to be similar events that I feel like we all can relate to. You know, we know what it's like to be put second sometimes when your mother is still trying to find herself. We know what it's like to have that conniving friend. We know what it's like to be molested. Like it's just going to be different events that we can relate to. Like I said, I'm still trying to do this self-love event next year. I don't know the date yet, but I'll definitely keep y'all in mind. I'll definitely send the
Yeah.
flyer. And I just want to let anyone out there know that has been abused. It's a very difficult journey. Try not to fold, try to understand. Instead of asking why is this happening to me, try to ask what is this trying to teach me? Because storms reveal a lot. Storms reveal who was there for you, storms reveal what lessons you need to learn, and storms show your strength. So I know a couple people, because I used to say this, a couple people in the comments were saying my abuser. Try not to define it as that no more, because we still have that language after we leave. That's no longer your abuser. They no longer define you. Try to get into the habit of saying that abusive relationship, because when you give power to it, it can easily still consume you. So that's all I got to say.
That is some powerful advice. Thank you so much. Like this was so valuable today. And like I said, I never really know what to expect, but it is always valid and affirming. And so I'm grateful that we were able to have this exchange and that it won't be the last exchange because I'm gonna be hitting you up.
I'll be ready.
Yes. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in and turned on tonight for Queen Phierce Has Spoken. I'm your host, Queen Phierce, and I was having another bomb conversation with Complex Angel, author of No Apologies and Out of the Darkness. You can find her on Instagram at complex_angel90, where you can access the link tree for all of her links, her sites, her books, all that good stuff. As always, I am your host, Queen Phierce, y'all. Queen Phierce. For those of you who are not familiar, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook with that tat. And I don't know. I got some things coming up this week. I feel like, I want to say thank you to the Barnes and CEC for having me for their Fire and Ice Kwanzaa event. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. There was both fire and ice. So super cool. Thanks for having me so much. I also will be at the Philly Black Pride Kwanzaa event on December 26th, the first day of Kwanzaa. So make sure you are checking that out. And I'm probably, because I finally, remember I was talking about my milestone on Instagram. So I don't know, it's a little random. It's 1,700 followers, but I'm still a little hyped. So I'm supposed to drop something in honor of that. And we're going to be doing a live sale of Affirmations on Instagram and Facebook over the next couple of days for your holiday gift giving. Give the gift of affirmations. Why not? Because it's decent, because we empower women. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. I can't believe we actually rocked this out for a solid hour, and I don't even think I blinked. Like the conversation was just that fire. Thank you so much, Complex Angel.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. And I will see you on the next Queen Crush Wednesday.